I got a question for you guys. Is Leviamon a alligator or a crocodile? Or is it a Leviathan because it's called Leviamon? Well, the truth is, it's none of those because what it really is a 7 great demon lord. Alright, starting with our Digi-Egg cards, we've got 4 copies of Tsunomon from BT6 here. We are doing a little bit of drawing and trashing combos in the early stages where you're trying to climb up the stack between your 3s, 4s, and towards your 5s eventually. So then we're able to draw more cards as we go through, which is what we really want to look for, so that we can draw more pieces, find more pieces, and synergize and sort of like get more compensation for trashing cards mainly. Now for our rookies, we are running the 4 copies of Shakomon right here, which is from EX5. It has an on-play effect. For each of your opponent's Digimon, you get to draw 1 card. Then afterwards, you trash 1 card from your hand. So the wider your opponent goes, really good value for this card, so that you can draw a lot and then you can then pitch away a card that you want to set up for your trash, which you do really need to set up specific pieces in there to help you go for your big combos later on, which I'll show you guys later. But of course, with the inheritable, it's also really good because it's alternates once per turn when an effect plays an opponent's Digimon, you get to gain a memory back. So pretty disruptive, definitely the main rookie, but there's also a secondary sort of second main rookie you want to play in this deck as well, which is Goblimon. You guys know how I mentioned about like drawing and trashing combos is going to be fairly common. You do want to, find your pieces as quickly as possible, which is why the Goblimon inheritable works very nicely during your own turn, so you can gain a memory back whenever you trash a card, which again, will do that a lot. And then we got 2 copies of Gilmon. I mainly play this so that we can actually have an extra attack because there's potentials where we can actually play our own Digimon back from our trash. And then when we have total of 20 cards in total in both layers trash, it gains rush, so it can make an extra attack to finish off games, which is definitely incredibly helpful when it comes to winning, of course. And then last but not least, I like to play 2 Gazis. You guys can like, juggle between on what kind of floodgates you want, depending on the meta and such. But Gazi seems to work generically the best because it just counts as any memory gain in general. Wave 2 is here. We got 2 new products. You guys love the first series Cyberzone so much, we decided to make some new color variations just for you. We also have a brand new design for the winter season, where we have our second series, Winter Zero. And this time, it comes with different colorways right off the bat. The new drops are now live on the AVAULT store right away for pre-order, so be sure to check it out. Both new drops have single and 2-player versions as well. Moving into our level 4s, I got 4 copies of the Stardeck 16 Garurumon as well as Garurumon X. I tailored my build to be the post-ban list once the Garurumon X and the Gabu X is restricted down to 1, so that, you guys can utilize this build and reference. But this is still a really good combo piece engine just because of when Digivolving, you get to draw 1 and trash 1 with Garurumon. When attacking, you get to do the same as well once per turn, and being able to do that as soon as you evo can have really good synergy, as you guys can see with Goblimon especially, and same for Garurumon X Antibody. Gaining that memory, drawing more cards, and trashing even more cards is what you're really looking forward to. Now, we don't play any Goblimons or really mats in our deck at the moment, but you guys can definitely splash those in to make use of this Garurumon if you want to as well. So totally up to you guys on how this built, but mainly it's been working out for me for drawing and trashing cards mainly. Next, for another drawing and trash engine, I like to play 2 copies of this particular Raremon right here. On play or when Digivolving, by trashing 1 card from your hand, you get to draw 2 as well. So really great synergy. It does cost 3 to Digivolve, but that's totally fine, so that you can ensure you set up pieces in your trash and also get compensation while at the same time. Also want to mention that the inheritable is also pretty neat because it's when attacking, not once returned. By trashing 1 card from your hand, you get to delete one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon too. Really good for getting rid of stuff, which this deck is actually really good at getting rid of stuff in general. Then we got 2 copies of Octomon. If you guys don't have access to Raremon, you guys can definitely play more Octomons or more Garurumon related stuff overall to compensate for it. With Octomon, it has a very special unique effect because on play or when Digivolving, if there are 4 or more total Digimon in play in total, you play a Fujitsumon token on your own side of the board. And then all turns, that token can't be unsuspended. It has a on deletion, you trash 1 card from your hand. Now, with that on deletion effect, it can help yourself if it's on your board, and if there are actually 3 or fewer Digimon in play, you play the Fujitsumon token on your opponent's side instead. And again, with its on deletion, whether it being on your opponent's side or even on your own, it's going to benefit yourself If it's on your own, you get to trash the cards that you want from your hand into the trash to set it up. If not, you disrupt your opponent's plays by making them trash a card from their hand as well. Really, really great effect, which comes in handy because if you play something onto your opponent's side, you can combo with a lot of crazy effects. If you play on your own side, you get a bit of value out of it as well. And it has the inheritable of all turns once per turn. When effect plays an opponent's Digimon, you get to gain a memory just like Shakomon as well. Moving into our level 5s, we got 3 copies of Dragomon right here. This guy does a whole bunch of crazy things, but for 3 costs, it has an on-play when Digivolving effect. Your opponent plays a level 4 lower Digimon card from their trash, suspended without paying the memory cost. However, any on-play effects don't get to activate. Now it has its secondary effect, which synergizes with its first effect, where all turns once a turn, when the effect plays an opponent's Digimon, you get to play 1 purple Digimon card with level less than or equal to it from your own trash for free. And the nice thing is that whatever you play back from your trash does get the on-play effect for yourself. This is when the combo and synergy comes in really greatly later, and you guys will get to see. But also inheritable, it gives piercing, so that when you swing over stuff, you can still deal damage at the same time. And yeah, for now, I'm going for 3 copies because I'm also going for 3 copies of Warrior Seedramon here. Very similar concept when it comes to playing it with Dragomon, but it does completely something different, which is very well suited in a different situation. It has an all turns effect. Once per turn, when an effect plays an opponent's Digimon, until the end of their turn, all of their Digimon gained on deletion lose 1 memory. And that's actually pretty insane because it can give you a ton of value, a ton of memory back when you synergize with your top end combo too. Now it has a when attacking effect. That's not once per turn, your opponent plays a level 4 lower Digimon card from their trash, suspend it without paying the memory cost. On play effects don't get to activate, and that's very similar to Dragomon, but with this one, with its when attacking, you can also then switch the attack target to that particular Digimon afterwards too. And otherwise, then that's sort of how it synergizes with the first effect too. So then when they play something, all their Digimon on the board are going to gain that on deletion, losing 1 memory, and then inheritable piercing, which again, can't wait to show you guys how useful and how incredibly good these cards are when it comes to comboing all together. Last but not least, for my final level 5, I'm playing 1 copy of my ALittleSpoon Ace, the newest one from BT15, Hand Counter Blast Digivolve. It is a blocker itself, which is 8k, and on play / when Digivolving, you get to play 1 purple level 3 Digimon card or 1 purple Tamer from your trash without paying the memory cost, which is actually kind of nice. And if you do play any of those, you can gain a lot of value overall too. And just a really nice like one-of clutch ace card that I like to include as my sort of like little bit of spice here. But anyways, let's get into our level 6s with our main boss Digimon of the deck, where we have 3 copies of Leviamon here. Incredibly cool card, fantastic alt art as well, one of my personal favorites of all. It is a 5 cost to Digivolve on top of purple level 5, otherwise a 13 hard play cost. Security attack +1 on play or when Digivolving. If your opponent has as many or more total Digimon and Tamers as you get to delete one of your opponent's highest level Digimon, and then you delete one of your opponent's lowest level Digimon afterward too. And then all turns, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, you get to gain a memory. You guys know how powerful this card is during the EX5 format as well. Really, really great counter to many things. Really, really great spot removal to clear boards as well, and like take down a lot of Digimon at the same time. Therefore, this is our main level 6. But now that we got a brand new upgraded level version, well, not level version, but like an upgraded version, we got the X Antibody form of Leviamon. And again, one of my personal favorite artworks of all time. It's just insanely crazy. I love this card so much, how it looks. It does cost 6 to Digivolve on top of level 5, or alternatively, you Digivolve for 2 cost on top of Leviamon. But mainly, you don't really want to be doing that. But what you really want to be doing is setting up this card in the trash, where it has a trash effect of all turns. When an effect plays an opponent's Digimon or Tamer, one of your Leviamon or any Digimon with the X Antibody option card in its Digivolution cards can Digivolve into this card from the trash without paying any memory cost. It has security attack +2, which deals a ton of damage, 14k TV, which is one of the strongest level 6s out there with its base attack. And when Digivolving, if your opponent has as many or more total Digimon and Tamers as you do, you will get to delete one of their Tamer, and then delete one of your opponent's level 3, level 5, and level 7 Digimon. That's pretty much being able to get rid of a ton of stuff, which is absolutely crazy. And this card alone can wipe half of your opponent's board. And then with the synergy of another card, which we're going to talk about later, you can potentially wipe your opponent's entire board, which is really, really cool. And yeah, love this card, love it so much. And for the last level 6, we are playing the 1 copy of Anubismon just because it's an insanely good card still. It can help you potentially play your Leviamon back from the trash for free. And you guys know how you can sort of like reduce your play costs, get to draw cards and trash cards all together with this guy, and also pop even further level 5 or lower Digimon. You know, just a really good one-off tech to be always splashed in as, yeah, a very good generic purple staple in most decks. That's it for all of our Digimon. Let's talk about our option cards right now. Starting off with Leviamon's signature move, we have Biting Crush. Now for 8 costs, it has a main effect. By trashing one card from your hand, you delete one of your opponent's level 6 or lower Digimon. If you trashed a card that is 7 Great Demon Lords in its trait, you get to place this card in the battle area. Now, while it being in a battle area, it has a delay effect of all turns. When an effect plays an opponent's Digimon, you get to trash this card, so then you get to play a Leviamon back from your trash for free. And by being able to play this card is like sort of setting up a trap to floodgate and sort of stop your opponents from playing things, or, you know, threaten them while you have Leviamon back, so then when they do play something, you play Leviamon, counter them, pop their stuff, gain memory, and do all that kind of shenanigans, which is absolutely bonkers. So yeah, really, really good card to counter a lot of stuff when it comes to playing things. Next, we also have the brand new option card, 7th Lightning, which is Leviamon's X Antibody's signature move here. For 7 costs, it has a trash effect as well. All turns, when one of your Digimon digivolves into Leviamon X Antibody, by returning this card to the bottom of the deck, you delete one of your opponent's level 4 and level 6 Digimon. Now you guys might have noticed a pattern. Leviamon X deletes level 3, 5s, and 7s. 7th Lightning, when you combo it, you delete 4s and 6s, meaning you delete everything across level 3 all the way to level 7 when you get into it. And that's absolutely insane, and that's how you can potentially wipe your opponent's entire board. And it's very similar to 7 full clusters. If you guys remember Leviamon, that's kind of how it works. Otherwise, it has its main effect by trashing one card from your hand, delete one of your opponent's Digimon that's level 4 and level 6 as well, doing exactly the same thing. And the insane thing is, I'm pretty sure that you can stack multiple copies of this from the trash and then have multiple of them pop off, so you can pop multiple level 6s and multiple level 4s when you do get into Leviamon X, which is, again, insanely bonkers and very, very strong card. Next, we have 3 copies of X Antibody. Very, very crucial and important. You guys understand that how Leviamon X Antibody can digivolve from the trash, either on top of Leviamon or on top of any other level 5, essentially, that has the X Antibody option card, which we do want to see as often as possible, which is why I run 3 of, and I would not run any less as well because of that reason. Then for our searching consistency stuff, 4 copies of Wisdom Training right here to find more pieces, and as well as 2 copies of Purple Memory Boost. I'm just going with this ratio right now because it seems to work out the best for me, but you guys can change up the ratio 3 and 3 or 4 Purple Memory Boost and 2 Wisdom Training, depending on what you guys prefer generally. But yeah, this is the lineup I like to go for overall. All right, tech options and other cards that you guys can consider adding, which I also have considered when playtesting as well. These are some other cards where we have the BT15 Digimon, which is really good. On play, until the end of the opponent's turn, one of their Digimon gains on deletion, lose 1 memory. Synergizes with the deck very well because you delete their stuff, gain more memory back, and it has that inheritable just like Shiakomon as well. All turns once per turn, opponent plays a Digimon, gain a memory right there. Then we also have Gesomon here. It's a blocker itself, has an on-play when digivolving effect. Your opponent may trash 1 Digimon card from their hand. If they don't, you gain a memory back. Effectively, you can make this like a 1-cost Digivolve to help you turbo up your line very effectively. It can attack while your opponent has no Digimon, which is fine, but otherwise you want to stack up your inheritable as well, because then you can gain memory when the opponent plays a Digimon by an effect as well, just like all the other guys. So yeah, really, really good line to sort of go for if you don't want to go for the Gabu and Gurumon line. Speaking of the Gabu and Gurumon line, if you guys do want to play the Gabu stuff, or you guys want to play this before the ban list or without the ban list restriction, you guys can play multiple Gabumons, multiple Gabu X's, you know, depending on the situation. You know, the Gabu line entirely does help out the deck very efficiently. You can search for pieces. Gabu X is really nice because you can grab X Antibody cards, and Leviamon X is also X Antibody being part of it, which has a lot of great synergy. So you can search for those 2, and they get to trash away the cards, such as your option cards that you don't want to see, or even Levia X afterwards too. And then Gabu as well, you know, the whole thing. You get to sort of like digivolve more, gain more memory and such. There's actually another really cool package you guys could be including. Since if you're playing Anubismon, you can actually play the Anubismon package inside there, even with it's restricted down to 1. So I've actually laid out here 4 different cards that you would actually include all together if you play that package, where we have the Ignite-mon, Dobamon, X Antibody, Cerberusmon, X Antibody, and Mervamon. Just so you guys know, you can even play 4 copies of Ignite, 4 copies of Dober X, 4 copies of Cerberus X, and 2 copies of Merva, 2 to 3, but depending on how you want to go for it. And by playing that, you can also play it alongside with X Antibody Proto form to sort of digivolve into these X guys, so then you can play Anubismon as your top end and Mervamon alongside, and instead of just playing Leviamon and Leviamon X, you would take out Leviamon and you would play like a Leviamon X. If you guys want to see like a deck list of this alternative version, definitely follow me on the AVAULT Club. That's where I'll be posting it, so definitely check it out if you haven't done so yet, and be sure to join, and I appreciate the support. But yeah, really, really cool stuff, and I might actually cover this in the future in the channel as well, so definitely make sure to subscribe and, you know, turn on that notification bell to stay tuned. But anyways, that's another discussion where you can do a lot of really cool synergies, really cool combos, which is a very, very viable list as well. Other level 7s, I didn't really include them just because I felt like, you know, there's a lot of removal of this deck itself, but if you do want to, you know, bring it up to another next level to sort of like help you out in competitive play, Shangri-Mon, Ruin Mode, and Death X-Mon are also just really, really good to sort of have in this deck because it is purple after all. Talking about mats, you know, we have 2 mats that you can include. I do prefer the newer one, ST16, a little bit more. The older one, you can grab like options, or you can grab a Digimon back as well, that's purple. Otherwise, the newer one helps you sort of like gain memory when you're trashing cards, which is really good synergy. So then, you know, they're both your memory tamer that can help you out a lot as well. And last but not least, there's also Calling from the Darkness, just to grab pieces if you ever need to sometimes. You don't really need to delete your own things to grab pieces. This deck is actually really consistent, which is why I didn't end up adding it. But sometimes you guys might want to tech this in because it is kind of nice to have if you're sort of like, you know, you build your first stack is deleted, and then you're sort of like wanting to grab specific pieces back from your trash to play all over again. Really, really good card to always include, since because it is a purple staple after all. All right, combos and how to play Leviamon and Leviamon X. Now, of course, when it comes to your opening hand, you do want to see, you know, your full line of your 3s, and then your 4s, and then your 5s, and then your 6s somehow, which ideally the one that you want to be seeing is your Leviamon, because it's always beneficial to digivolve into that, and then maybe your Leviamon X afterwards to climb through your stack. But if you don't see this line, that's totally okay as well, because alongside with that, you want to see your searching option cards to help you find the particular pieces to help you build into this. Now, when it comes to playing the deck, it's rather reactive, which, you know, you want to wait for your opponent to come up with their board and commit first, and then you blow it all up, which I'll show you guys just in a bit. Or it's actually just as good as being proactive in doing the exact same thing. And I'll show you guys exactly how it works. Now, whether you're going first or second, of course, you hatch your egg, and then you would play these cards to sort of help you search and find your pieces. Ideally, you want to be digivolving in Gobblemon because it doesn't have any on-play effects whatsoever. So you do want to sit that like in the raising. Otherwise, your secondary will be a Shakomon. If your opponent plays like multiple Digimon in the early stages, you can even slap this down so they can draw multiple cards and then trash your cards. Now, while you're sort of like going up your stack, once you go into your Gobblemon, ideally, most cases, you see your Garurumon digivolving, so you immediately get to draw one and trash one. And by doing so, you get to gain a memory and draw another card for Sunomon and Gobblemon's Inheritable, effectively making Garurumon like a 1-cost to digivolve, or even gaining a memory back, essentially for free, if you use it paired up with Wisdom. Now, of course, not always the case that you might have it, but when you do, going into Garurumon X is just as nice to continue drawing and cycling cards. Now, while you're drawing cards, you want to be finding your level 5s, like I mentioned earlier, and then your level 6s, and then what you want to be trashing would specifically be 7th Lightning and Leviamon X. These are the cards that you want to prioritize trashing to set it up for later combos to give you the maximum value. Other cards you could be trashing can even be your Gilmon, which you want to play back out. Otherwise, another Shakomon right here is also just as good, or even some of your level 4s, which might even be your Octomon, because then you can also play it out back and it can give you on-play effects when you play it back out. But anyways, let's just say this is your stack as you're going up. And once you're ready, two ways to get into your level 5s. I mean, 2 different play methods to go into the line. Depending on what the board state is, depending on what your opponent has, they might be sometimes be trying to hide and not come out. Or if they committed a board, you want to control the number of Digimon and Tamers in total to your favor to get your maximum advantages when you sort of combo and synergize when you get into it. This is what I'm going to be talking about. If you can ideally go into Dragomon right here, you when Digivolve, your opponent plays a level 4 or lower. Make sure to check their trash that there's a valid target, because then you want them to play something. By them playing something, you get to play something equal to the level or less. So in situations, you can play a Raremon. You get to use this on play to trash 1 card from your hand to draw 2. Octomon to continue to play a Fujitsu token, either on their side or on your side, and make sure you're planning ahead depending on which side you want it to be. Ideally, in most cases, you want to make sure that you have fewer Digimon and Tamers in total compared to your opponents, so then you can pop it afterwards. Otherwise, you play Shakomon or your Guilmon or whatever you want to play out essentially there. Let's just say you play a Guilmon. And then once you play this Guilmon afterwards, then you can go into Leviamon just by hard digivolving into it. By hard digivolving into it, if your opponent has more bodies than you do, which they might have 3 plus a Tamer in total, Leviamon will pop the highest and then pop the lowest. And then once you pop the highest and the lowest, you gain the memory back each, and sometimes you might be able to retain your turn and then swing over. Now, what you then want to do is, because your opponent plays a Digimon that is suspended on their side, you can swing with Leviamon into that Digimon and deal piercing damage thanks to Dragomon, just like that. Now, the other way to do it is, this is just one Leviamon combo, but the Levia-X combo is where it comes in to be really, really insane. Before going into Dragomon, you want to have X Antibody, which is incredibly crucial. You slide X Antibody underneath, and then you Digivolve in Dragomon. You do the same thing, make them play something, you play something, and now that they've played something, you have Leviamon X in trash. Leviamon X trash effect lets you Digivolve on top of a Digimon with X Antibody in its sources without paying the memory cost. So once you Digivolve into that, you're for free. And once you Digivolve as well, you delete their Tamer, their level 3, 5, and 7, basically wiping half of their board. And if that's still not enough, if you have 7 lightning in your trash, you bottom deck it from the trash to pop the 4 and the 6, clearing the opponent's entire board. Afterwards, then you get to swing into that Digimon that's suspended as well, so they can pierce. If not, you swing straight into security for 3 checks at 14 KDP, which is absolutely insane. That's the main Leviamon X combo you want to get into. Now, this is not the only way just to get into Levia X. Of course, like I showed you, the other level 5 that you can get into is Digimon. Same deal right here. When you Digivolve into Digimon, you would like to have X Antibody underneath with the exact same setup as well. Digimon, you want to make sure that it's still your turn. So then once you attack with Digimon, you want to use these inheritables such as Gurumon so you can draw 1 and trash 1. Sometimes you might not have these pieces set up in your trash early in the stages, so that you can do it in the middle of the stages too, which works out very nicely. So you can toss them away here and then now do the combo, gain memory of Gobbly, draw 1 with Suno as well. Now when attacking, same deal. Make sure that your opponent has a level 4 lower Digimon that they can play. So then they play it out, you force them to play it out, and then you get to switch the attacking target to that Digimon. Now afterwards, if you do, because they play something out, same idea, same combo all over again. Digivolve into Levia X, pop everything else, swing into that Digimon, deal piercing with Digimon as well, and to use 7 lightning to pop even more things, just like that. So 2 ways with your level 5s that can get into this combo, which is insanely crazy. Not to mention, the other thing with the Digimon is that all turns once returned, when an effect plays an opponent's Digimon, all their Digimon gain on deletion -1. So when you go into this Levia X, you're actually gaining memory back as well because of that. And of course, if you ever combo it with Leviamon even afterwards, then you're gaining like double the amount of memory, essentially, you know, making Leviamon's Digivolving costs nothing. And by doing that, you can swing a lot of, again, aggressive security, and you would take out a chunk of them every time. And then sometimes when you do play the Guilmon and there's enough cards in the trash up to 20, Guilmon helps you finish the game, which is always really, really cool there too. Now, that's not all. There's still another way that you can be playing Leviamon, and that's when Biting Crush comes in. When Biting Crush, when it comes out with security, or when you're on a hard play for the full 8 cost, by tossing away like your Levia or your Levia X, you get to set this in the battle area. Especially you want to, you know, toss away Levia and have it in your trash set up, so that when your opponent plays a Digimon via effect, pop this and play this. So with this kind of early game setup, you can do exactly the same thing. If you have the stack right here, when you force your opponents to play something, you can then play Leviamon, pop things, highest and lowest, and then War Digimon play something, then you get to go into Leviax, pop even more things, and have double bodies, which is really, really, really insane. And that's how powerful this deck really is and how consistent it is in getting into this super strong boss Digimon overall. And it's very easy to understand as well. As you're attacking, you're doing tons of damage into your opponent and they gotta react fast, because if they don't react fast and deal with it, Leviamon and Leviamon X just takes them out very, very quickly and win games fast. So once again, be sure to get your Winter Zero Series playmat on the AVAULT store if you want to see this crazy deck in action and see how we dominate against all the other decks. Definitely watch the gameplay video right here, right now. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you in the next video. And this is AVAULT signing out.